quarterback behind a pathetic offensive line that has 2 rookie starters, and it played out that way. Winston was lost, facing the Dick LeBeau blitz-heavy schemes on defense that Tennessee brought. It was just a recipe for disaster, really, for the Bucs, and you saw it right from the get-go. Give up an early touchdown. Jameis Winston pick 6. They're down 14-0 before you can even blink your eyes. So, I mean, that tells you all you need to know. Tennessee with the big victory there. 33-13, Cincinnati romps over Oakland. What can I say? I mean, Derek Carr out of that game early due to injury, and that pretty much sunk any hopes the Raiders have. I'm still not sure what to expect of the Bengals. They're a solid team, but still need to see more before I'm a believer. Denver, 19-13 win over Baltimore. If you're, Denver's going to be an under team this year. I really believe that. I think that's the sign of things to come with that game staying way under the total. This is not the same vertical downfield passing attack with Peyton Manning. He's lost a lot of arm strength. They're more running the football now with Gary Kubiak there as the head coach. Time of possession matters a lot more. So this is going to be a more conservative Denver offense. We already saw that. Their defense is going to be good, though. They played a very good game on the defensive side of the football. And Baltimore had a real trouble. Joe Flacco and the new Mark Trestman Raven offense having a real tough time getting things going. No surprise to see Denver's total with Kansas City on Thursday night steam downward from 46 all the way down to 42.5. Denver, to me, looks like an under team early in the year. Of course, the crazy comeback by the Dallas Cowboys, 27-26 over the New York Giants. Really, I mean, Giants, they took advantage of, 2-3 turnovers that Dallas had and took advantage with touchdowns off them, yet still found a way to lose the game. That tells you the state that the New York Giants are in. They've got tons of injuries on defense. Eli Manning did the best he could, but again, terrible time management in the last few minutes. Not taking this, not just, sliding down inside the 20-yard line, bringing up 4th down, letting the clock run, kick the field goal. He was still probably going to make the field goal. It's not like sliding down would have made that much of a difference in terms of making the field goal a lot harder, but he threw the football on 3rd down. That gave Dallas about 40 more seconds of time to execute their game-winning touchdown drive. Romo finds Witten, a great drive, took advantage of that linebacker that was replacing John Beeson, who was injured for the Giants. So it was just a disaster, really, for the New York Giants, rather, in the last couple minutes of that game. Somehow lose a game that they were up by 10 in the 4th quarter. So just a real bad loss for the New York Giants. It'll be interesting to see how they regroup from that when they host the Atlanta Falcons this week. Dallas now goes to Philadelphia for a late Sunday kickoff at the Link against the Eagles. And speaking of those Eagles, took them until the second half to get their offense going with Sam Bradford making his first start as a Philadelphia Eagles starting quarterback. I mean, that offensive line was horrendous in the first half. Holding penalties left and right. Didn't really get the running game going. Didn't really give Bradford a chance to set his feet and find his receivers down the field. But in the second half, they finally got things going. The penalties decreased. They got some rhythm going. They started to get Atlanta's defense on their heels, getting them fatigued from the up-tempo pace, and got going in the second half. But, again, Philadelphia defensively, they showed you clear as day in this game. They've still got some room for improvement. That secondary was picked on by Matt Ryan, found Roddy White, Julio Jones for some big plays in the passing game. And definitely some improvement that has to be made for Philadelphia on the defensive end. But the positive, at least from the Eagles, is that even though they lost, they at least got that offense going in the second half. So it'll be interesting to see now just how quickly, I guess you could say, this Eagles team gels, because they've got the potential to me to be a really good team this year, but they've also got the potential to things could blow up on them. So it's really tough to gauge right now just how things will. How their season's going to go after just this one game. But a little bit of a mixed bag from the Eagles. The Falcons, give them credit. I mean, their defense, especially in the first half, played well. Dan Quinn coming over from Seattle, that defensive background, and he had that defense ready to go, and he pretty much inherited the same shitty, awful defensive personnel that Atlanta had last year, and yet somehow he managed to get them to play pretty good. I mean, you hold Philadelphia to 24 points with the tempo offense and the possessions that they're able to have in a game with that pace. That's not bad. That's not a bad debut for that Falcons defense. So now they'll play the New York Giants, and again, an interesting game there. And the Giants offense may have some trouble with that Atlanta defense. I was impressed with the way the Falcons defensively bottled up Philadelphia for as long as they did. And then the real surprise in the final game of the NFL Week 1 slate, Minnesota taking money hand over fist. Some of it was mine too. Plus 3.5 they were 2 months ago. And they ended up closing, what is a 2.5 point road favorite? They went from a 3.5 point road dog to a 2.5 point road favorite in this game. And they just get clobbered by San Francisco 20-3. I don't know if I've seen Teddy Bridgewater play worse than he did last night against the San Francisco 49ers. You know, no touchdowns, 1 interception. His completion rate wasn't bad. The yardage numbers weren't bad. But he was missing a lot of throws. They couldn't run the football at all. Maybe it was rust on Adrian Peterson's part. 31 rushing yards on 10 carries. That's not great either. But just overall, a really bad effort. The offensive line didn't do a very good job for Minnesota. And their stout defense, and of course Mike Zimmer with the defensive background from the Cincinnati Bengals days, you know, they didn't play well last night. You know, they allowed San Francisco to run the football right down their throat. The Carlos Hyde had a tremendous night toting the rock for San Francisco. 26 carries, 168 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground. And even Colin Kaepernick, you know, his numbers won't jump out at you, but 17-26, 165 passing, no interceptions, which sometimes has been an issue for him in the past. So positive signs for Jim Tomsula and his San Francisco 49ers, a team that everybody, the wide consensus seemed to be, oh, this team's going to be horrendous this year. Well, at least in one game, they had a pretty good game with that 20-3 win against the Minnesota Vikings. I don't want to overreact, though. We've seen this before. You know, maybe a team that people thought weren't going to be so good before the season, they have that one good game, and then you don't want to change your opinion on a team that quickly. I still want to sit back, wait. Let's see what San Francisco does this Sunday as they head to Pittsburgh. You know, that's always tough. West Coast team going east for that early 10 a.m. Pacific kickoff. In Pittsburgh, you know, with the extra time to prepare for the Steelers because they played last Thursday night. So let's hold off on the 49ers and saying everything's right with them just because of this one performance. A great performance. Don't take anything away from them, but don't overreact to it either. Let's see what they do in Pittsburgh this coming Sunday. As for Minnesota, they'll be looking to regroup against Detroit. So, and they'll need to because that was a very ugly opener for the Minnesota Vikings, a team that the betting markets and a lot of the sharp bettors in Vegas, we're very high on this Minnesota team. We'll see if they can make some amends this Sunday as they host the Detroit Lions. So that's a look at your Week 1 NFL slate. Really, it'll be interesting to see how things go with Week 2. A lot of wild finishes, of course, this past week in the NFL. So definitely always interesting to talk NFL football each and every week. All right, so let's give you now a free play. Now let's do the free play right now before we say goodbye. Baseball is all we got tonight, so it's going to be a Major League Baseball winner. I'm going to go with over the total play in the Detroit Tigers Minnesota Twins game tonight. The total is sitting at 9, about -110, -115. I think we're going to see runs in this game. I have been betting against Alfredo Simon often this year. He has had a very, very rocky season. He's had a couple good starts here and there, but for the most part, it's been a struggle for Alfredo Simon this year. 5.3 ERA in his last 3 starts, a 6.19 ERA on the road for him. And his last start against the Minnesota Twins here in this ballpark at Target Field was ugly. 7 runs, 2.1 innings, got knocked out early, a 9-5 loss for the Minnesota Twins against for the Detroit Tigers, rather, losing that game 9-5 against the Minnesota Twins. On the flip side, you got Phil Hughes coming back after a stint on the DL. He's back tonight, making a return to the Twins rotation. But you know, his numbers against Detroit aren't great. 3 starts against the Tigers this year, gave up 4 runs in 2 of them. I'm not sure he's really going to be ready to pitch at his best first start back. You know, these two teams played a 7-1 game last night. Neither bullpen is overly trustworthy, especially Detroit's. They've had tons of issues with their bullpen once again this season. What else is new there? So I'm going to look for some runs in bunches tonight in Minnesota. So I'm going to play Detroit and Minnesota over the total, sitting at 9 right now. That'll be your free play in Major League Baseball for tonight. Check out sportsmemo.com. Not a whole lot going on tonight, but we do have a 20-star MLB winner from Marty Auto Sports, 8-1 start in football, over 12 units of profit in all sports in the last month, and he's got his strongest baseball total of the month tonight, $20 Tuesday. You can get that at sportsmemo.com. We've also got a few other baseball plays. We've got a couple of our handicappers coming in early with college football for the upcoming weekend, including Drew Martin with a 20-star non-conference game of the year. Strong play from him, and a guy that's coming off a terrific week in college football. Perfect 4-0 sweep, 5.5 units of profit. Alex B. Smith, our newest addition here at Sports Memo. Great guy, great handicapper. He's already in with his college football and NFL card this weekend as well. So definitely get on board at sportsmemo.com. And baseball, college football, and NFL will be added throughout the week. So check it out at sportsmemo.com. All right, that's going to do it for today's edition of the Sports Memo YouTube video. Remember, we'll be back on Friday. We're only doing 3 videos a week. This is unfortunately not going to be an every single day video that I do. It's just not enough time to do one every single day. But we will be back on Friday to preview NFL and college football and run down all the best bets available for purchase from our Sports Memo handicappers. So we will be back on Friday with that. Until then, have a good rest of the week. Enjoy the games, and good luck.